Dun, dun,
There we
dun.
go.
Hello.
Thanks for letting me know that. Damn, I just told a great ass
That was
story.
a great
All right, okay,
story.
so we'll just read you the whole
Let's start
thing.
over. We got this.
Okay.
We planned these.
So gate 64.3, overextension. Exaltation is the wisdom to recognize when one has not the necessary resources to complete the transition. Such timely awareness may give it a chance to seek assistance. The wisdom to accept confusion as a temporary state that will be resolved in time or through others. The detriment is the risk of a superficially confident personality that when transition collapses, there is no one to turn to. Overconfidence that the fates will be kind on demand, which the fates is the people that cut the string, the three sisters that like cut the string of mortality. Anyone seen Hercules? That's where I know it from.
Yeah.
But anyway, I was telling a story about how as mortal beings, we can put our faith in something greater than ourselves, but ultimately that greater force works through mortal things. And so I was telling this story. I was very enthusiastically telling the story, as you could see, about a family who is living in a house, and there's a flood warning. So a radio signal goes out and says, "Hey, there's a flood. Everyone get out." And the family says, no, our God will save us. We'll be fine. And so the living room starts to fill up with water because the flood's coming. And so these guys in a car come up and they're like, "Hey, get in. We're going to get you guys out of here." And they say, no, our God will save us. And so they say, "Okay, fine." And then they take off. And then now the living room is flooded, and people in a boat come up and say, "Hey, hop in. We'll save you." And the family says, no, our God will save us. We're fine. Thank you. And so the boat says, whatever, takes off. Then the first floor fills up. They're on the second floor, right? Or they're on the roof, actually. And then a helicopter flies over and it drops a ladder down and says, "Hey, climb up. We'll save you." And they say, no, our God will save us. It's okay. Thank you. And then the family dies and they're up in heaven and they're pissed off at God. Like, "God, why didn't you save us?" And God goes, "I gave you a car, a boat, a helicopter. What else do you want from me?" And so that's just kind of what this transit brought up for me is like, there's no shame in asking for help from others or admitting you're confused and that you don't have an answer in the moment. That's actually one of the most mature things that we can do as human beings is understand that, we're not here to do it all alone.
Right. All right. I Ching.
Yeah.
6 in the third place means before completion, attack brings great misfortune. It furthers one to cross the great water. The time of transition has arrived, but one lacks the strength to complete the transition. If one should attempt to force it, disaster would result, because collapse would then be unavoidable. What is to be done? A new situation must be created. One must engage the energies of able helpers, and in this fellowship take the decisive step across the great water. Then completion will become possible. So yeah, exactly what you were just talking about. It's like rely on others around you, because if you just go out and attack on your own, you might just die out there on the battlefield all alone. Instead of being like, "Hey, you want to squad up and do this thing together?" Because I think we got the same like belief systems, right? Or at least for this situation, we believe in the same thing. So let's go out there and let's do this together,
right?
Instead of trying to do it all alone.
Which this being a transit is, one of those things that also this has to line up with strategy and authority, because the tendency might be to team up with people, but if your gut is like or there's no invitation, right? Don't fall into the weather or the transit pattern that everybody else is falling into just because everybody else is falling into it. We're sharing this as a way of recognizing that, if you do feel the need to team up, but again, your strategy is asking you to be solo, follow your strategy. We're sharing this because you want to be aware that, the energy that I feel from wanting to team up with people may not be actually coming from me. It might be coming from the transits. Right. And again, inner authority over external authority. So,
facts. What's up, Eric?
Gate 63, after completion, doubt. Line 3, continuance. The dedication to the new beginning that insists on maintaining its achieved principles despite having to interact with those who have not yet attained such a state. Doubts that one can maintain one's principles when interacting with others. The detriment is success at any price, which is the pressure to eliminate the doubts at any cost, which include sacrificing your principles.
Right. I just want to point out, I like the way you said that word,
Which one?
continuance.
Continuance.
Because it's like continuance, but it's like a nuance. It's like continuing the nuance. I'd never looked at that word that way.
Continuance, right? Yeah, I don't know why I said it.
No, it was perfect. Continuance. I was like, whoa, shit, I never thought about it like that. It's like the
Right?
nuance that continues.
Right. Yeah. Because that's the thing is like something that continues. There's oftentimes a repetitiveness or a mundaneness to it. That one might seek variety where you already have success, and the continuance is to be able to maintain your achieved principles despite having to interact with nuances and novelty, right? And that's one too that it's like, again, doubt is looking into the future. I don't know about that, right?
The pressure is like current time.
Yeah. Pressure to do something with that doubt, which is where gate 4 comes in. So again, if you don't have gate 4, you don't really spend too much time trying to figure this out, or you're not going to ultimately figure it out. It makes much better sense to ask for reflections or seek help, right? As opposed to just like trying to like hit it on your own. Another thing too, it's like in the detriment, we have the pressure to eliminate the doubt at any cost, which is partially why we think, because we want to relieve the pressure, or we try to solve other people's problems with the undefined head or the open head, because we want to relieve the pressure that's there. And of course, the tomfoolery of that is realizing that just because you've solved a problem with the mind doesn't mean that the mind isn't going to spin up a new problem, right? And this that's typically what happens is once the mind solves a problem, it's on to the next one, which that was line 1 of this composure. The detriment is the pressure and achievement to still doubt one's capacities and to immediately seek new goals. That was line 1. So understanding that, it's the mind's job to doubt. It's the mind's job to, or the head's job to be confused, and to not be so quick to rush away from these, quote unquote, negative pressures, because the pressurization is the thing that cooks the diamond. So
facts. Okay, 9 in the third place for gate 63. The illustrious ancestor disciplines the devil's country. After 3 years, he conquers it. Inferior people must not be employed. Illustrious ancestor is the dynastic title of the Emperor Wu Ting of the Yin dynasty. After putting his realm in order with a strong hand, he waged long colonial wars for the subjection of the Huns, who occupied the northern borderland with constant threat of incursions. The situation described is as follows. After times of completion, when a new power has arisen and everything within the country has been set into order, a period of colonial expansion almost inevitably follows. Then, as a rule, long drawn-out struggles must be reckoned with. For this reason, a correct colonial policy is especially important. The territory won at such bitter cost must not be regarded as an almshouse for people who in one way or another have made themselves impossible at home, but who are taught to be quite good enough for the colonies. Such a policy ruins at the outset of any chance of success. This holds true in small as well in large matters. Because it is not only rising states that carry on a colonial policy, the urge to expand, with its accompanying dangers, is part and parcel of every ambitious undertaking. Wu Ting reigned from 1324 to 1266 BC. A little side note they got in there.
Oh.
But the urge to expand, with its accompanying dangers, is part and parcel of every ambitious undertaking. It's a good little keynote in there.
The urge to expand.
The urge to expand.
So again, that's a natural thing that everybody's feeling, is the urge to expand, the pressure to doubt, the pressure to feel confused. With the natural method or the natural processes of confusion and doubt is to be, continuity created and formalization created. What can you do about it? That's a good question. The answer to that question is like,
seek confirmation, not validation.
I was gonna say the opposite. I'm like, don't do shit with it.
Well, and don't do shit with it.
Well,
because that's a confirmation can come from not doing anything about it.
True. Yeah,
If
exactly.
it's still there.
Yeah,
after the
exactly.
transit.
In that confirmation, it's like test out whether this is actually like something that is like a guiding force for you, or it's just kind of like one of these shiny, distracting things on the road.
Yep.
You know, it's like if I want to go to the other side of the island, but it's raining, I just prepare for rain. I don't cancel my trip to the other side of the island, right? That might be a good example. And so, you know, this massive pressure and doubts, again, like, I was trying to figure out how to say it. Eternity. Oh, like eternity. That's cool. Eternity. Like, do you have 64 and 63, or are these open for you? Because for me, these are undefined gates for me. And so I feel the pressure to make more money, pressure to figure out how I made so much money in the past couple months, and like, how do I replicate that? But I'm like, okay, that's a bunch of head nausea stuff, so I'm not going to get caught up in that, right? And I just have the awareness that, okay, I know that pressure is there, but I'm because it's in transit right now, I'm not letting it distract me from tending to my strategy, tending to my connections and my people. Ultimately is what it comes down to. So what you do with it is you use it to build. Yeah. So exactly. So you're like me. So feeling all this pressure and all this doubt, it's like, again, you have to, and if it's just coming from the transits, you have to understand that every year you're going to come up against this. So don't be surprised that the next time 64 and 63 are in transit, that you feel the massive pressure, the massive confusion, and the massive doubt, because again, that's what this transit is. It's neutrinos, it's light waves, coded information that's hitting the planet right now. And if you're unaware of it, for instance, you might act on the pressure and the doubts and the confusion.
It's my phone.
Oh, okay. I was like, what the hooker? So I have both 64 and 63. So generally, I feel this massive doubt and pressure always. Yeah, that's pretty much what it's saying. But you'll be more used to it because you've been feeling it your entire life. And again, especially if you have these gates hanging, it's like you don't need to do anything with that doubt or that confusion, right? Like if you find people with 47 or you find people with 4, then now there's an electromagnetic where it's like, I know what to doubt, you know what formulas to create, or I know what to be confused about, you know what to how to like chop it up and edit it and make it a whole like, you know, movie thing. But in your alone time, again, you don't need to spend too much time doing that. One thing that's really good for head pressure, like if you feel like the doubt crushing you, is just sprint. Go sprint. You know, it's like, it's one of the best things that you can do as a human being. The highest expression of safety and of skill is sprinting, right? Like if a tiger jumps out, whoever's going to live is the fastest sprinter, right? And that's kind of it. So run away from the tiger, because it's like it's a tiger in your mind. It's not necessarily a tiger in real life, but you can relieve the pressure just by sprinting hard as fuck. Don't destroy yourself, but sprint hard as fuck. Very healthy for us. It's one of the best ways to relieve acute stressors. So like spontaneous stressors, not like chronic pain and stuff like that. But just like little stuff that comes up. So good.
Run out the door.
Yeah, exactly. Just sprint, get in your body.
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
So much sense. I was just feeling all this pressure and doubt these last few days. Like, man, like I'm not doing enough kung fu. If I'm not doing it all day, every day, am I good enough to become a teacher, an instructor?
Oh.
And then this morning, that's why I said confirmation, because I was like, I'm not really going to do anything about it. Besides last night, I went out and like practiced some forms that are like for this month. And then my master reminded me, I'm going to treat you like a student until you earn the instructor role. And I was like, oh, right. I'm not an instructor yet. I don't have to do all these things. I'm still a fucking student. I can take it at the pace that I'm going at. And I'll get there when I get there. Which is a huge relief for me, because I was like, Jesus Christ, I gotta do it all now.
And all that pressure was probably preventing you from just like practicing, huh?
Exactly.
Yeah, that's funny.
You know what it is.
Which I was feeling that too. I was feeling all this pressure, and like I realized just this morning, I was like, oh, I'm not making TikToks. I'm not making videos as much as I used to. And so I'm going to be focusing more on making some videos. Cool. Well, all right, guys. That'll do it for us today. Thank you guys for tuning in. That was lovely. We'll be at it again tomorrow with some more tea and transits. Aloha, aloha.
Bye.
Bye.